Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far. Uh, Now, for those of you that have been following me for the last couple of years or so, you probably remember me doing a video of Andalusia, Alabama. I'm back to do another video of Andalusia, Alabama, except this time, as you guys can see, the footage quality is going to be far better because I'm using a much better quality camera. And on this video, I have a lot more information about the city, partially because I'm more familiar with Alabama than I was a couple of years ago when I first began to record in Alabama. So, kind of like what I've been doing to certain cities when I went back up to Indiana for 5 months, I'm gonna be fair, and I'm gonna do the same thing here to Alabama. Whenever given a chance, videos that I thought I did a poor job on, cities that I thought I gave a poor representation to, I'm gonna come back and do do another video. Give the city a more accurate representation, be more detailed and thorough on the details of the city. So, with that being said, welcome to Andalusia, Alabama. Now, Andalusia, Alabama is located in the southern middle region of Alabama. It is located an hour and 25 minutes south of Montgomery and an hour and a half north of Destin, Florida. And you're also an hour north of Crestview, Florida. So as far as your biggest cities are concerned, those are going to be your three biggest cities that are going to be the closest to here. Now, so if you're looking to live somewhere and it's important to you to be close to a major metro area, Andalusia may not be your place to stay unless you don't mind driving an hour and a half to Montgomery or Destin. Crestview is only an hour from here, but Crestview is not that big. So if Crestview is big enough to accommodate all your needs, then Andalusia could be a nice little place to live, in my opinion. Without reading any data, which I will be reading data on this video, it concerns to crime and all that fun stuff. I'm gonna just tell you up front, in my opinion, I think Andalusia is a nice city. Provided that you do your due diligence and you live in the right neighborhood, and you live on one of the better sides of the city, I think Andalusia could be a good place for many people to reside. It's South Alabama, so obviously during the wintertime, for those of you that are not familiar with this region of the country, for the most part, you're not going to have to worry about snow. And it doesn't get real cold here. Okay, every so often you might get temperatures in the 20s and 30s, but mainly the 20s and 30s will be at night. During the day, it typically warms up into the mid-50s, low 60s. That's typically your temperature during the winter. Now, I know I've talked about this on other videos I made before, but I thought, it's been a while since I've done an Alabama video. So, in South Alabama, the temperatures during the winter time are relatively mild. And during the winter time, you also get an abundance of sun here, unlike further up north where it's always cloudy and dreary and cold. So, those are some of the good aspects about living in southern Alabama, in my opinion anyway. You're only here in Andalusia, you're only an hour and a half away from the beaches, so you don't have to spend the next 6 months or more and thousands of dollars planning for a trip to Florida. You're only an hour and a half away. So those are some of the good things about Andalusia. So the population here is 8,805 people, and as of the 2020 census, this city has declined by 2.3% population-wise. The population used to be 9,015 people back during the 2010 census, back in 1980. Now during the 1980 census was when the population peaked, and it peaked at 10,415 people. And when they began to record the census here back in 1880, the population was 596 people. And the racial demographics are, at least the largest groups are, you got 66% white, 26% black, 1% Asian, and 2% Hispanic. Give me a second here. I gotta go get the door. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to take care of some business. So, let me just give you guys a little bit of background about Andalusia, Alabama. Now, Andalusia was first settled in 1841 due to the people living in the lowlands being forced to move to higher grounds due to the flooding of the Connecticut River. The city was named after Spanish explorers of South Alabama / North Florida. This area used to be part of Spanish Florida until the signing of the Pinckney Treaty on the 27th of October of 1795 by the U.S. and Spain government. Andalusia also shares its name with Andalusia in southern Spain. This city used to be called New Site until 1846, the year the Andalusia post office was established. Andalusia was incorporated as a town in 1884. Okay, that's just a little brief background of Andalusia. Now we're going to get into the crime. Now, the overall crime here is 39.39 per 1,000 people. In other words, for every 1,000 people, 39.39 people are going to be victims of a crime, and that's overall, which is 92% above national average. And Andalusia is safer than only 4% of U.S. cities. Now, when it comes to violent crime, your violent crime is 4.78 per 1,000 people. So for every 1,000 people, 4.78 people will be victims of some type of a violent crime. Now, the violent crimes that have occurred here recently are two deletions. And I don't say only two out of disrespect, because anyone that's deleted, that's never a good thing. It's never a good thing, and I'm pretty sure their families are missing their loved ones dearly, so I don't mean no disrespect. I'm just saying only two, because you got other places to where you take that number 2 and you add a couple of zeros behind it. You had 4 hard R's, 5 robberies, and 31 assaults. So the majority of the violent crime here are going to be assaults. I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to assume that the majority of these assaults that they discuss are probably domestic, or they're probably an inside job. Inside job meaning the person that assaults the other person most likely knew each other. I don't think people are going to just run up on you and cold cock you for no reason. I mean, I guess that can happen, and it does happen. And I'm not saying that it happens here in Andalusia, but since I'm saying that most likely that's most likely not going to be the case. Now, when it comes to property crime, out of 1,000 people, 39.36 people will become a victim. Now, some of the most common property crimes here recently are going to be, you got 110 burglaries, you got 203 thefts, and that's non-car thefts. thefts, meaning, you know, someone probably broke into a home, not a home invasion, but just break into an empty house and took whatever they took out of the house. Maybe they may have swiped something off of someone's yard, like a package that may have been delivered. You guys get the idea. Now, there has been 33 vehicle thefts. So I would say if you live here, if you're moving here to Andalusia, you're gonna most likely, you know, honestly, if I were to move here to Andalusia, I would be a lot more concerned about property crime than violent crime. And I still say this could be a good city to live in for many people. You know, it's just that if you're going to move here, just have enough money to move to one of the better parts of town. You don't necessarily got to move to a super expensive part of town, but you're probably not going to want to move to the hood. I'm just saying. I'm not talking bad about the hood, but, you know, well, I guess I am, but, you know, you guys get the idea. So, anyways, well, you know what? I'm going to retract my thought about the hood. Like a lot of the crimes that I discussed, the majority of these crimes are going to most likely happen in the hood. Now, I don't mean to talk bad about the hood because, you know, like I told you guys before, I spent several years living in West Anderson, Indiana. And anyone that's familiar with Anderson, Indiana, Anderson, Indiana does get a negative reputation. It does get a bad rep from many YouTubers that do these kind of videos. And even within Indiana, Anderson gets a bad reputation. And I used to live in West Anderson, which many parts of West Anderson is considered a hood. And I was so adamant about becoming a homeowner and regaining control of my life through financial freedom that I refused to spend the next 30 years of my life paying a mortgage, which is why back in the day when I was working and making $10 an hour, I decided to buy a house on land contract in West Anderson. So I don't mean to talk bad about the hood. I'm just saying that, you know, I don't mean to talk bad about certain neighborhoods, I put it like that. It's just that you got certain neighborhoods that have a lot of people that don't give a shit about nothing. And they you know, they fuck it up for everybody else. And it's sad, it's disappointing, it's frustrating. And quite frankly, you know, it makes me upset. But it is what it is. And that's why areas like that are called the hood, because you got too many people that don't care to have a neighborly, they don't care to be neighbors. They're just peasants. I'm gonna just say it like that. And although in poor areas you got a lot of people that are good folk, you know, they get up, they go to work, they take care of business. You got too many of them other folks that be effing it up for everybody else. So I don't mean to talk bad about the hood, you know, or about poor neighborhoods. I'm just saying that many of those areas do have a significant issue with crime. So let's keep going. Obviously, I'm talking about the hood, but clearly I'm not in the hood. So for those of you that are new to the channel, when I make these kind of videos, basically what I do is I press the record button, I say what I say, and as I'm talking about the city, you guys get to see what the city looks like. That's just basically how I do my videos for those of you that are new to the channel. So anyhow, if you're looking to move here to Andalusia and you're looking to purchase, the median home price here is $122,433. And right now you can buy a home here for as low as $25,000. And again, it's not going to be around this area. Now the neighborhood I'm going to go drive through later on in the video, which will be the lower income, which will be, I'll just say, the cheaper part of the city will be the city where you can buy houses for as low as $25,000. And of course, when you get real low, the house is going to most likely be a fixer-upper, and it's going to probably be in an area that's less than desirable for many folks. So anyways, I would say if you want to buy anything decent here, decent neighborhood-wise and decent house-wise, I would say be prepared to spend at least $800,000. Now, if you're looking to pay rent, the median rent price here is going to be $635 a month. That's going to be the median rent price. Now, rent here tends to go from $515 to $975 a month for the most part, which rent here is 68% lower than national average. Now, as I've kind of told you guys on my Andalusia Alabama video that I made a couple of days ago, if you're gonna move to Andalusia, if you're gonna move anywhere in southern Alabama, understand that the wages down here are gonna be significantly less than many other parts of the country. Like, I gave you guys some examples on my op video of what I meant by that, so I don't want to repeat myself on this video. But I'm gonna just to recap real quick. I'm gonna just tell you like this: if you're used to working at a particular job to where you make, let's say, $20 an hour in Indiana, you come down here, that job might not pay you but $15 an hour. So I'll just use that as an example. Now, one thing I will say on this video, which I did not mention on the op video, is when it comes to making your money down here, it is possible to make good money down here. In my opinion, if you want to make good money down here, don't rely on a 9 to 5 to do it. You work a 9 to 5 down here, it's possible to make good money, but it's not going to be without working back-breaking jobs and probably having to work a crap load of overtime. And then when you get off of work, you're too tired to do anything else. So if you want to make good money down here, my suggestion to you is learn a trade. I mean, no disrespect to college, but unless you're coming down here with a college degree in, let's say, nursing or radiology or something in the medical field, don't even waste your time, going to college for some degree in social work or anything like that. Because those degrees down here aren't going to get you real far financially. So if you want to make the big money down here, the medical field is the medical field will do good. And also, if you come down here with a trade like, you're a plumber, you're an electrician, maybe you do some construction, you can actually come down here, start your own company, and I think you can do very well. And I say that because, I know some people that they've had things go on with their house, and they had to wait for 6 months to get anyone to come and do work for them, because that's how backed up the companies down here are. That's how busy they are. There is a huge shortage of tradesmen down here. There's been times, even myself, with my house where I live, where, things came up, and, as we're up in Indiana, I might be able to get somebody to come out within a day or two. Down here, it might be a week or two. So if you're looking to move to rural Alabama, and if you're, you know, if you're a tradesman or a tradeswoman, you can make some money down here. I think you can make bank down here. I really do. I mean, rather you want to start your own business, or you want to just get you a 9 to 5 job working for an employer, I think you can come out here and make a very good living for yourself. So FYI, if you move down here, those those trade skills are gold down here, and they're going to be worth way more than most college degrees. And speaking of that, some of the largest economies, now the largest economy down here are going to be as follows. And this is in no particular order. You're going to have retail, healthcare, and manufacturing. And the highest paying work here is going to be in agriculture. Not sure how they come up with that, but based on my research, that's what came up. And I just typed it on Google. Now I'm assuming that the agriculture could be the highest paying, because maybe they're factoring in the wages that many of the farmers around the area might make, which is, it may not be the most amount of money in the world, but it's more than what many of these 9 to 5 jobs are paying out. So I'm just assuming that. So if you're coming down here and you have no education, you have no skills, yes, it's possible to come down here and get a job. Now, it might take you a little bit of time to get a job down here. It might take you a month or 2 months to get a job, depending on what type of work you're looking for. Now, if you come down here and you don't mind working at a manufacturer, or you don't mind working at a warehouse, you may be able to get a job down here within maybe a couple of weeks. And as I told you earlier, those kind of jobs down here don't pay that well. So if you come down here, you have no skills, you're looking for a fresh start in life, whatever the case might be, yeah, you can get you a little job in manufacturing or at a warehouse. But, if I were you, especially if you're younger, like in your 20s and early 30s, you're going to want to hurry up and learn a trade. Or if you'd rather do something else, like I said, if you choose to go to college, you're going to want to go into something that's related to the medical field. Because I would not suggest anybody to stay working at warehouse jobs or to stay working at any factory job for real long. It's not because I look down on those kind of jobs. It's because those kind of jobs, they don't pay, many of them don't pay crap. Even the ones that pay decent, I mean, after a while, the concrete is going to be hard on your feet and your back and your legs. So after a while, it's going to break down. Your body's going to break down. And then when you get to the point where you can't physically do the work anymore, well, guess what? You lose your job. And now you lose means of being able to make a living. So while you're younger, FYI, while you're younger, my suggestion is, while you're working these back-busting jobs, many of them don't pay worth the crap, you're going to want to further your education. You're going to want to learn some skills to where you can make a lot better money and live a lot better life. Now, haven't I taken this advice when I was in my 20s and 30s? Right now, I would have been retired and doing this YouTube full time, because I would have had the money in the bank to do so. I wouldn't have to ever worry about working another 9 to 5. But since I was bad with money back in the day, here I am still working at 9 to 5 and only getting to do YouTube and travel on the side. So for those of you that are younger that are watching this channel, understand what I just told you. And for those of you that are my age or a little older and you're watching the channel and you got kids, relay this message to your kids, man. I mean, you don't want your kids being like me. You spend your 20s and 30s out here jerking off a lot of money, being bad with money, and then when you get older, you can't live how you really want to live because you still got to worry about working some type of a 9 to 5. I mean, you don't have to work a 9 to 5. You can always do your own thing, but a lot of people throw that out here on social media. But when you do your own thing, you got to be realistic about it. You got to be realistic. We all got bills to pay, so I always leave it at that. Now we're going to jump over to niche, and we're going to see what other people think about Andalusia. Now, before we talk about that, I'm going to give. Now, I kind of gave my 2 cents about Andalusia at the beginning, but I just want to point one thing out. I personally think that Andalusia is a good place to live, provided that you live in the right side of you live in the right side of town. Sorry. I mean, now this area that I'm driving through right now is going to be one of the cheaper sides of the city. So despite some of the data that I've read in concerns to crime here, which, some people would say that the crime here is too high and they would not want to live here. And, like I said, I spent several years living in Anderson, Indiana. And, I will say it amazes the crap out of me of how many people stated how bad Anderson, Indiana was. And, Anderson, Indiana made it on a list of some of the highest crime cities in Indiana. It also made it on a list of some of the most miserable cities of Indiana. And there's been a lot of YouTubers that have down-talked Anderson, Indiana. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, Anderson's not perfect. But I've been to cities that are 10 times worse than Anderson. I mean, there's cities here in Alabama that are worse than Anderson. So the way people were down talking Anderson, it just blew my mind. It's like, I've been living here for all these years and never had an issue. I mean, I'm not no tough guy. I'm not, I'm just a normal, average human being like most of you. I get up, I go to work, and I'm a law-abiding citizen. Now, when it comes to Andalusia, I'm pretty sure there's people that might have a lot of bad things to say about Andalusia. But I don't know this city well enough to speak on it too much, but just off of what I've seen and off of what I've experienced while I was here, I don't think this city is a bad city to live. I really don't. So let's see what other people gotta say. Now on niche, out of 29 reviews, Andalusia has a 4 out of a 5-star rating, and that's based on 29 reviews. 15 people rated Andalusia as excellent, 5 people rated it as very good, 7 gave it an average, 2 gave it a poor, and no one gave it a terrible. So if you're new to the channel, we're going to start with the 5 stars, and we're going to work ourselves all the way down to the 2-star in this case. So the first 5-star was written 19 days ago. Visiting this place is like coming to another world. Seriously, it seems like everybody really down to earth and super friendly. The only person that was rude was one of this motel guys at the motel that I was trying to get other than the other than that, wow, everybody around is okay. Now I'm gonna let you guys know right now. I'm reading these comments word for word. Now I'm gonna just go ahead and just tell you what this person meant to say. Now, obviously, this person may have spoken to their phone and didn't bother to proofread what they spoke, or two, this person just can't talk with the shit. I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's both. I don't know. But basically, what this first comment was trying to say is, basically what this first reviewer was trying to say is, they like Andalusia. They think people are nice and friendly. They consider Andalusia down to earth. And they would like to come back to visit again. I'm very impressed with the city. So let's go read another 5-star one. Now this one was written December of 2022. Andalusia, Alabama is where I grew up. It is the best little town to start a family. It is a safe environment, and I would not want to live anywhere else. And we'll read one more 5-star. Andalusia is a small town in Alabama. It's a place where you can feel safe and comfortable. Andalusia has been my home all my life, and I wouldn't choose anywhere else to live. Well, I'm glad that person likes their home, because when you move around like I done been moving around, it gets very expensive, it's time consuming, it's tiresome, and it gets to the point where just the thought of moving makes you puke. So if you're happy in your hometown, you save a lot of time. In most cases, you save a lot of money, you save a lot of energy. So let's go on to the 4 stars. Okay, this is a 4-star. The first one was written September 2022. I would love to see more diverse activities in Andalusia. I would love to see a Publix grocery store in my city. I would love to see more events that connect the police and the citizens, so that there is clear communication and trust all around. I love that we have good schools in my city. However, I think they should have had better safety measures against 19 in the school system. Now, I can't say the word, so when I say 19, you're going to have to kind of connect the dots. And I'll read one more 4-star. I love the family atmosphere that Andalusia offers. It also provides many different job opportunities for people with all different majors. It also has many great public schools. These factors make it a great place to raise a family. Okay, now the first 3-star I'm going to read was written July of 2020. It's a little boring sometimes, and a lot of things need renewing and refreshing. It's honestly not too bad. Okay, this next one is another 3-star written July of 2019. Andalusia has been my home for my entire life. As quaint as this small town is, I prefer a larger city with more variety and places to explore. Many consider this a nice place to work or retire, but as a college student, it isn't my cup of tea. Okay, that's fair enough to say. I mean, sometimes when you were raised in one place your entire life, you want to see different stuff. I get it. You know what? That was basically that basically describes me. I mean, I was raised in the Midwest. I mean, like I said, I still love Indiana, but when it comes to the climate and just the general, when it comes to the climate and just, I don't know how to describe it, but when it comes to the climate and just some of the amenities that are available here in Alabama due to the geographics, I rather live down here as opposed to Indiana. Okay, and I'm gonna read one more 3-star. This one was written October of 2018. As a young Yankee who moved to the South, I find Andalusia lacking. All of the mom and pop shops are gone. Walmart moved in and they all moved out. There are no worthwhile restaurants for average income families. There is a strong upper class presence here, but they have no interest in fixing the lower class issues. Few jobs, poor opportunities for advancement. If you like to live on the cusp of poverty, Andalusia is the best place in the nation. And again, kind of like what I said earlier in the video, if you're looking to move to southern Alabama, to rural Alabama, your best bet is to come to cities like this with the skills. I mean, with a trade. I mean, if you have a trade in plumbing, electrician, some construction, or another trade that could be good around here is if you're an auto mechanic, or if you have a college degree in the medical field like nursing, maybe radiology, something along that. Cities like this could be wonderful places to live. The housing prices are low, the weather is nice, and your income will go a very long way. But if you're coming around here with some degree in social work or some other weird degree, thinking that you're gonna come around here and make some money, you're gonna be talking all that, hey man, I'm college educated, I got 5 degrees in whatever. I need to be making some money around here. You know what I'm talking about? I need to be making some money around here. I got 5 degrees. I mean, if you come around here with that type of a mentality, if that's the kind of mentality you're gonna come down here with, if I were you, I would completely skip rural Alabama. And you might wanna, if you want to live in Alabama, you might want to go check out Huntsville, or you might want to go check out one of the other major cities. But if you're moving to rural Alabama, like I said, I can't emphasize enough, your best bet is going to be to come down here with a skill set in a trade. Or if you have a college degree in the medical field. So, with that being said, let's keep it moving. And another thing is, if you're moving to Andalusia and you're from a more expensive region of the country, you cannot come to South Alabama and expect the same things in South Alabama as you may have had. I'm going to give you guys an example. If you're moving to South Alabama, I mean, this guy said he was a Yankee, so, he's from the North. Now, technically, Yankee means, New York, but whatever. But if you're moving, let's say you're moving here from, and we'll just use Madison, Wisconsin as an example. if we're moving here from, let's say, Madison, Wisconsin. Now, Madison, Wisconsin's cost of living is going to be much higher compared to, let's say, here in Andalusia, Alabama. So if we're moving here from, let's say, Madison, Wisconsin, it is not fair to come here to Andalusia, or for that matter, to rural Alabama, and expect the same things here as you may have had in Madison. It's like if you want what you had in Madison, Wisconsin, except you want it in a warmer climate, then you're going to have to move somewhere different. And you're going to have to be prepared to pay that price tag as well. I mean, there's places, let me think here. I mean, you know, you got a lot of larger cities in, let's say, Texas, where you can move to, and you can have what you had in, let's say, Madison, Wisconsin. Now, of course, you move to your larger cities in Texas, you're going to pay a lot more money for your housing than you will down here in rural South Alabama. Or if you move to even Huntsville, Alabama, which, you know, is cheaper than many other cities in the United States. But when you compare Huntsville, Alabama to down here, again, you're going to pay significantly more money for your house in Huntsville than you will down here. So it's one of them type of situations where it's not fair to compare a more expensive region of the country to this region of the country. It's not fair. It's not right. I mean, if you're going to do a comparison, let's compare apples to apples, not apples to grapefruit. So now we're going to jump down to the 2-star comment. There's 2 of them. Now the first one was written October of 2019. The best restaurant in town just permanently closed. Not enough businesses. The owners said the people with money would rather spend it online with Blue Apron and Home Chef. With too high rent to income ratio and high utility bills here, the working class can rarely afford to do anything. Well, they mean barely. And again, this person does not know how to speak, because when I read these in these reviews, I read it word for word, I read it for verbatim, but I'm pretty sure you guys understood what this person was trying to say. But basically what they said at the end was the rent here is apparently high, utilities are high, and the wages are low. And the other 2-star was written in February of 2017. This one's a little older. It's a 2-star, and it goes like this. The town is quite small, and it seems everyone knows everyone else's business. It is a boring town with nothing to do. Okay, I guess that's fair. But with that being said, you're only an hour and a half away from the beaches of northern Florida, so, you know, I look at it like that. Alright, folks, that's going to do it for the commentary. Now, there's still another 40 some odd minutes left of the video. So I would encourage you to continue to watch that part of the video. I don't do no talking on that part of the video. You can just enjoy the views in silence and in peace. Or if your time is limited and you got a lot of crap to do like I typically do, you can pause the video and then you can come back out of their time and watch it. Now, for those of you that enjoy looking at cheaper sides of the city, this part of the video is going to be for you. I mean, I know some of you enjoy when YouTubers like myself drive through the trenches. And if you're that individual, this second part of the video, I will be driving through some of the places that are considered to be the trenches. So on that note, if you like what I do on this channel, you can give videos like this a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do so. And on that note, stay blessed, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.